Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Track Titan community race stream. And, well, this is one I've been looking forward to all week. Here we are. It's time for the GT3 class at Donington Park, and an exciting one indeed. We've got the choice of 3 different GT3 cars for the drivers today. The Ferrari 488 GT3, the McLaren MP412C GT3, or the Huracan Lamborghini GT3, you guessed it, GT3. Donington Park, one of my favourite circuits in the entire world. 4.02 kilometres of track, 14 turns, 8 to the right, 4 to the left, and up and over plenty of hills and long straights. It's got everything that you need, and I love it. And I'm sure the 2 people with me in the commentary booth love it. Tom and Spitzlam, how are you feeling today, fellas?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me back. It's been a fair while. I'm looking forward to a very entertaining race tonight.
Spitzlam.
It's good. It's great to have Tom back. This will be an interesting race.
Oh, it certainly will be, by all accounts. And, yeah, like I said, I've been looking forward to Donington all week. I bloody love Donington. But before we crack on with qualifying, as we watch Max Newt take the most interesting line around the old hairpin, we're going to take a look at the championship standings graphic. And as you can see, currently at the top of the championship, it's Max Newt 7. But big news in the championship tonight, Ryan Skywalker, his main title rival in second place on 319 points, is not going to be racing. He's got he lives in South Africa. He's got load shedding, which means that he can't race tonight. The power will be cut off for him due to some power supply problems in the country, he says. And yeah, he's going to be missing out. So this is going to be 2 dropped rounds to Ryan, and they could be vital. You can only drop 6 races in total, and he's already dropped 3 by getting 0 points in them, which, well, it means that he's got much less room for error. That 1 point and that 4 point scored throughout the season are going to come back to bite him, potentially. We'll see as we near the end of the season, indeed. Henry Comsey, as we were waxing lyrical about him last week, is not far out the fight either. Only about 40 points between him and second place, 43 between himself and first. Not a million miles away, but definitely he's got a mountain to climb if he wants to win this championship before the end of the season. Alexander Gray is in 4th position, cementing his place there ahead of Dennis Bosman, who's back tonight, apparently. And he is in the server as well, so he should be willing to fight Alexander Gray to the line. And then you got Michelle Rodriguez also returning, the traitor in his traitor livery, and then the rest of your top 10 rounded out. Hugh Jass moving up 2 positions last week alone. With the championship talk out the way, it's time to focus our attentions onto track and onto qualifying. Currently, Henry Comsey is running fastest, and well, the cameras in the background of shot have been focused on Max Newt 7 for a little while, and he is the man that set the fastest time in practice, but wasn't the fastest in the hot lap challenge, was he, Tom?
No, Ryan managed to take that honour, and yeah, unfortunately he's not going to be here today, so we're not going to see that battle. But what I can say is Max Newt is currently 0.2 of a second up on that current provisional pole lap. So let's just see how he does coming through these last couple corners, and then I think we're going to do a bit of a lap on board for you, and I'll give you a run through on that, what's going on with that.
Indeed we are. He's just coming through the Melbourne hairpin here. Now at the lowest, sorry, not the lowest part of the circuit, right at the far back of the circuit. You can see the paddock to the right of shot there. It's kind of loops round in itself here at Donington. You have to go right by the track to get to the paddock, but yep, going around the final corner here now. Max Newt 7 slowing down to get the best exit. Tom, you take it away.
Yeah, he bailed out of that one to give himself enough room to the car ahead, Madball, who's just slowing down a bit. Now he's going to give it a good hard push now to try and claim this lap. So using it all the way into 6th gear, braking about halfway around the pit exit there, missing the apex slightly, but down to 3rd gear, keeping it on the track. It's not going to be the exit he wanted. He's already a 10th and a half down on his previous bests, but so this isn't going to be the start of the lap he's wanted. All the way 6th gear, pinging off the limiter there, downhill all the way to 4th gear, carry the speed through, run wide. Doesn't want to be that wide. Surely that's going to be a cut or not. Either way, it's going to hinder him up the hill. He's up all the way into 6th gear now, pulling it all the way, braking just as he gets off the curb there, waits for the car to settle and gets the car turned in, just missing the curb on the inside, but keeping the car nice and settled and using all of the exit again. Once again, as soon as he sort of gets to the top of the crest, all the way on the left, turns in, hits the apex, lets it run all the way out wide on the throttle fully. 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear, all the way along. 6th gear, pinging off the limiter again, all the way on the right hand side, about halfway between the 2 braking boards. Gets on the brakes down to 3rd, takes a lot of the inside curb, and can take a lot of the curbs there because there's nothing to clip. All the way back up to 6th gear again, and then braking about 20 meters after that middle board, all the way down to 1st gear to get the rotation. He tried 2nd there, but he wasn't getting the rotation. And once again, a bit of a slip as he's gone with the throttle. I think he might be bailing out because he's short shifting a lot here, but we'll see what he's gone. I think he should be up slightly on his run to the line here. He's short shifted again. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's short shifted a lot. But either way, he's a quarter of a second clear, and he's about 8/10 of a second off his best that he set during the practice session. So we know he's got a lot more in the tank.
He certainly does, but Tom, the Tom Jones counter curse comes back to bite you again. Every time we used to commentate on one of Michelle's laps, he'd go and put it on pole. And there you are, commentating on Max, saying about how he's missing his turns and short shifting, and he puts it on pole again.
Well, what I'm going to say is it's not the fact that he did a fantastic lap, because he hasn't. Nobody has done a fantastic lap. The thing is that immediately now he's already 0.3 of a second up, and he's just changed the things. Like I mentioned, I said he missed a load of apexes. He's changed it up, hit those apexes, and suddenly he's 0.3 of a second up.
Well, so you've been listening in. He's been taught how to do better, and he's putting it in practice. And well, he's currently sitting on pole. And like Tom says, he's up on his lap time, almost 3/10 in that sector alone. So this will be a very interesting lap to see as we watch him come across the line in a minute. Henry Comsey gets out of his way there. Henry Comsey, the man currently in second. But yeah, plenty to talk about with this race. We'll keep watching the action on track, but there's a little bit of variation in this race that we don't normally have. We usually have one car for all the drivers to choose. But this time, they had a choice of 3 different cars, the Ferrari, the Lambo, or the McLaren. As it turns out, most drivers have gone for the Ferrari. I guess that's just personal choice for each of them. But, well, it seems to be the fastest car because they're all choosing it, except for a few people on track. Dennis Bosman in 3rd position right now with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 and Little Skittle in the McLaren MP4 12C. And they are the only 2 other drivers, well, in different cars here. Spitz, I'm going to come to you. Did you get a chance to drive these cars? What do you think of the differences between them?
No, I didn't get a drive the chance of these cars, but I heard that the Ferrari is really good because of its short shifting that you can do with it by not damaging the engine at all, even if you short shift. It's really great for the turns of Donington Park.
That's gonna that informs a bit of what Tom saw earlier there with Max Newt's short shifting there. I guess thanks to some of the uphill, downhill turns you get at Donington, short shifting might come in advantageous to get some of that engine braking.
One thing I will say from my week-long build-up is that in conversations I've had with Ryan about him looking at driving which car he was going to drive, he found the Ferrari was the fastest overall. He could do the best lap time on a Ferrari, but he found the Lamborghini the most stable. And so, of course, over a race where you're going to be pushing, you don't always want the car that's going to be the fastest because, especially, let's be honest, no one here is one of the top drivers in the world. So you're going to want a car that's slightly more stable and a bit more forgiving for when you make a mistake, which, especially when you're in a championship fight like these, that's what he's gone for.
Yeah, well, this is very interesting, and it's something that I found myself. I did a few laps earlier in the week, and I found that I preferred the Lamborghini the most because I do like to throw it into corners personally, and I'm a bit erratic with my driving. So the Lamborghini, for me, being the stablest car, was the fastest personally. The Ferrari with a bit of a loosey-goosey back end. It suits some drivers, but, well, not for me, I guess.
You're used to a very planted back end, aren't you, Chaffers?
Not sure
Sorry.
what you're insinuating.
Sorry, that was a really bad joke.
Well, on how Chapper said, yeah, it's basically about personal preference, and yeah, always now on how Tom said, not always the fastest car is the best.
Exactly.
The best example, if it's one of the old Monaco Grand Prix, Lotus versus Ferrari. The Lotus won because it has better grip than the Ferraris around the Monaco circuit. So that's
Exactly
one
that.
of the best examples.
Yeah, different things suit different tracks, different things suit different drivers. But, well, it turns out most people did choose the Ferrari in the end. But, like I said, Little Skittle here coming across the line to finish his last flying lap. He's in 7th position currently, and he's not going to get any higher than that. He's in the McLaren. Dennis Bosman is in the Ferrari. And then the last few drivers to cross the line, Henry Comsey is backwards on the straight down towards Melbourne Hairpin. Max Newt 7 sticking on pole position right now. Keith Holt's in the wall at the Melbourne Hairpin. And that means that the last driver on a flying lap to cross the line is going to be Le Bandit Alex Heller. And he's going to stick it in 9th position. And that concludes qualifying. A rapid fire qualifying there. Plenty to talk about. Plenty going on. And, well, that's that one over into the racing. We've got 2 minutes of build-up before the race actually starts. Plenty of time for the drivers to sit on the grid and think about what they're going to do into the first corner.
Tom,
Yeah, don't
you're
worry.
on the grid again.
It's an
God
issue I
damn
have with
it.
my software. It will never change.
Even it's not that he is named the one. That's what makes it worse. Actually,
Right, well,
he's the one to mess up.
We'll see. We'll see one Ferrari head into the pits at the end of the starting lights procedure. But outside of that, there is 11 drivers ready and waiting on the grid. Like I said, no Ryan Skywalker this time around. We're used to seeing him, well, either on the front row or very near, but he is a notable absence this time around. So from pole position, it's going to be Max Newt 7 on the left side of your screen with Henry Comsey alongside him on the front row. Then it's going to be Dennis Bosman and Michelle Rodriguez in the third row. And then it's Diogo Teixeira and El Ripo on the third row. That's the top 3 rows. And, well, there's plenty of chaos that's going to go on behind them. Fortunately for these drivers, Redgate is quite a wide radius corner, which would insinuate there's going to be less chaos in the first turn.
You're incredibly optimistic about the outcome of turn 1, I think.
It is online racing after all.
I have to agree with Tom. It's our track that races after all. Do you think it's going to be that clean?
I always have faith every week. I'm always the optimist, and you two come in and snap me back to reality.
No, I'm very optimistic. I'm optimistic we'll have 3 cars survive.
More than normal.
Especially with how Michelle was driving during the practice.
That's true. He was.
It was just called the practice, and upon quizzing his unique driving, he said, "Oh, I haven't done any practice. Leave me alone."
He's used the ACC.
Yeah, he's used to ACC. It's all a load of excuses for he failed the 5 Ps at the end of the day.
We'll see.
He's a traitor.
He is a traitor. Hopefully, he doesn't crash into anyone. The 6 red lights are about to come on. One last question. Spitslam, who's going to be in the lead by the first corner?
It's going to be Michelle.
It's going to be Michelle. 6 red lights, go on. 11 drivers on the grid. 6 red lights, go out now, and away we go. And it's a decent start from the front row there. But there's drivers fanning out behind them, and Henry Comsey has not had the jump on Max Newt 7. Max Newt 7 leads into the first corner. But Michelle Rodriguez down the inside of Henry Comsey looks to make a move into the second position, but it's not going to happen this time around. But he's still on the inside as they head in towards the Craner curves. He's not giving Henry Comsey any peace here as they battle side by side going down the Craner curves. Very difficult place to go side by side there. And Henry Comsey comes out on top. Dennis Bosman dropped down into 4th position off the line there as Michelle Rodriguez got the better jump on him, coming out of the old hairpin corner now onto Starkey's Bridge. Dennis Bosman is in 4th position. Diogo Teixeira up into 5th. Little Skittle moved into 6th position with Alex Heller and El Ripo going side by side there, coming into McLean's. And after that, El Ripo comes out on top because Alex Heller goes very, very wide. Alexander Gray further down than he'd normally like to be, down in 9th position currently. He's coming round Coppice corner onto the back straight behind El Ripo, and he's going to have some serious work ahead of him if he wants to hunt down this front pack, which are quickly getting away from him. Max Newt 7 in the police livery coming through the S's now down towards Melbourne Hairpin. He is running away with it. Already 5 tenths up on Henry Comsey in 2nd position after that blistering start that he got. Michelle Rodriguez filtering in 3rd position, and then it looks to be like there's going to be a move into the Melbourne Hairpin by Little Skittle. He looks at the inside of Diogo Teixeira. El Ripo trying to squeeze between the pair of them. He's going to get sandwiched. He's not. He's going to get side by side with Diogo Teixeira as they head right now back up towards the final hairpin here at Donington Park. Diogo Teixeira up the inside of Little Skittle. He's got the braking. He's got the acceleration off the corner. And Alexander Gray up the inside of the pair of them. 2 overtakes in 1 corner for the Swedish meatball. And that's a beautiful, nice little maneuver for Alex there as Keith Holt and El Ripo go side by side. At the end of the first lap, Max Newt 7's in the lead from Henry Comsey. Oh, sorry, Michelle Rodriguez and Henry Comsey. Did I miss that overtake?
Yes, Henry locked up into the final corner, which just allowed the door to be wide open for Michelle just to scoot straight on by.
Goodness gracious me, completely missing some overtakes for the lead. Well, that was a very orderly first lap, and I knew I was right to have some faith in these drivers. They do repay my faith every now and then. But Michelle Rodriguez, look in his mirrors, he's going to be running away from Henry Comsey for the rest of this race, isn't he? He's going to job on him, on his hands.
Yeah, it's not looking like an easy job for Henry. Michelle is he's got some pace, and we know he can defend quite wide. quite wide, quite well. Sorry, he can have the widest car on track at times. And I think it's all going on a bit further back, but I don't know really.
It is indeed. I tell you what, we'll go to Spitzlam here. What's going on further back, mate?
Keto just spun out of nowhere, coming up the hill from the Starkey Bridge, just spins out before reaching the very top of the hill. Maybe a lockup, not really sure. Not really much moves going on. Little skill slicing through the field with the McLaren, which the underdog with, well, basically the Lamborghini here. Both of these two cars are doing great.
They are indeed. They're ahead of a lot of Ferraris here. The Lambo in 4th, the McLaren in 6th. So yeah, it's interesting to see that they've just chose it based on their own personal driving style, and they're not bothered by such ideas as the Ferrari is faster. They just do their own thing, don't they?
Oh, I would choose the McLaren as well. It's just if there was the Porsche, I would pick the Porsche.
Well, that's because the Porsche is the best.
Yeah, that's why I left it out. Because everyone would have picked it.
I'm not biased, but it's
and
just
what about
the
the Audi? Still missing too much corners. It's El Ripo spinning out for, I don't know what corner that is. Starkey's Bridge. And Keith, that's getting his 1 point back.
He is indeed.
Just going to jump ahead. Alex Heller's just driven straight off the road. And Madball and now
Michel.
Diego Texeira going side by side. Madball's dived up the inside. Diego Texeira's hanging out the back, and I don't know who that is.
It's little skill spinning. Little skill spun.
You cursed his
Into
bits,
the
man. You said
straight.
he was doing well, and now he's facing the wrong way.
The commentators, I'm so sorry.
Back to
Same
Diego
lap.
Texeira. He's right on the back of Madball, Madball has completely missed his braking zone and had to dive to the grass, which is allowing Alex Heller to get on through as well. Keith Holford has somehow found himself all the way up in 9th place, and Diego Texeira is now sitting pretty in 6th. Alexander Gray in a bit of no man's land in 5th.
I'm sorry. Now little skill going side by side into the Melbourne hairpin, taking the inside line with the McLaren of Keith Holt, and that's a clear 9th place for little skill.
I'm not going to lie, we've missed it again. Michelle Rodriguez has been overtaken without Henry Comte taking 2nd place. I don't know how we're doing it, but we keep missing.
I wanted to say it, but you cut me off right when it happened. Michel missed his apex coming into the hairpin, coming to the straight. He missed his apex, and it cost him going into the gravel and a 2nd place.
Yeah, he did indeed. He's just caught the exit of it on the cameras. So I think it was coming up to this corner here. Coppice at the top of the hill. Michel missed his apex. Got a little bit slow, got a bit onto the gravel, came with a slow exit, and then Henry Comte just breezed right past him, took away 2nd position. So, yeah, currently in 2nd position, the Iceman, but Michel Rodriguez not giving him a moment's peace. He's ducked right up underneath his exhaust there, and it's certainly going to be an interesting one. Keith Holt in 10th position right now, looking to take home more points as he's trying to hunt down Little Skittle and take that place back off him. But Little Skittle, after spinning into the gravel, has got the bit between his teeth to try and take home more than just 2 points from this race. I don't know if that's on the cards for him.
Well, yeah, we're going to keep watching Michelle and Henry because they are really close together. Not limit, and Michelle's gone for a move up the inside. He's clipped Henry on the rear, sending Henry flying off the track at the end. Michelle has stopped and waited for Henry to come back onto the track, costing them both, I think, 2 or 3 positions there.
He has indeed. Well, first play for the sportsmanship there from Michel Rodriguez. He stopped and waited for Henry Comte to rejoin the circuit before he even rejoined because he knew that one was his fault. So no post-race penalties to be applied there. He got more than his comeuppance, dropping 3 positions in one corner. Dennis Bosman, the big winner there, moved through on the pair of them, obviously, with that incident. And now he's sitting pretty in 2nd position. A bit of a way off Max Duke 7. I don't see him taking home a win here. He's definitely going to get hunted down by Alexander Gray, Henry Comte, and Michel Rodriguez close behind. But
after saying that, Henry Comte's going back past Alexander Gray.
Yeah, bang on. Yeah, no, actually, well, no,
he just drove straight on past him. There was no fight.
Okay. Fair enough.
It was just he just did him on the straight. It was done, and he was miles ahead for the next corner. Simple as that.
Well, that makes it easy for the Finnish driver there in the green Ferrari. It's his own livery, actually, this one for Henry Comte. Let's take a look at it. Brian's made it especially for him. I don't know if it's
Michelle's just sent it up the inside into the chicane. Managed to hold it roughly on track on exit, a bit sideways on the throttle. But Alexander Gray, I think, is just conceding this position because he knows he's not as quick as the guys ahead, but he'll only lose time if he tries to fight with them when they sort of drag Dennis back to him when they catch him. So I think he's just going to be good and just sit behind and not trying to challenge Michelle.
Precisely that makes it easy for Alexander Gray. He doesn't need to get involved in a battle that's not his own. It's only going to damage the pair of them. So Michelle Rodriguez through on Alexander Gray. It's a Swede by Finn, by Dutch by Finn. Up at the front of the pack. But Alexander Gray is going to try and learn from Michelle Rodriguez here. Get underneath him, learn his lines, learn his braking points, and see where he can gain some time on his own laps. Through the rest of this race, Dennis Bosman still over 4 seconds clear of Henry Comsey. So he's not allowing them lot to catch up to him quite yet, is he?
No, well, Dennis is a good driver, and we all know that. He's not the quickest driver we have here, but when he gets in his position, he's difficult to defend against, he's difficult to overtake, and he's got a sensible margin of about 4 seconds, which is going to be difficult for Henry to overtake and gain up, especially if he's driving well, especially with that Lambo having a slightly higher downforce overall. He should be able to hold off Henry when it comes to fighting through the corners and hopefully have enough of a margin on the straights to keep ahead.
Certainly that. Interesting to see how this race is developing then. We've got a few gaps kind of forming. We'll see how they rise and how they grow. But interesting for the championship. Let's take a look. Well, let's have a think about that as we see the planes taking off in the background of here at Donington, of course, sat next to East Midlands Airport in Leicestershire. As Michelle Rodriguez, locks up his brakes into the Melbourne hairpin, gets it all wrong, but it doesn't allow him to drop back too far into the clutches of Alexander Gray quite yet. But yeah, next to East Midlands Airport, the planes fly very low over the circuit. It's very interesting to see, especially in person. Keith Holt is up into 10th position. He's got himself past Little Skittle, who is in the gravel at Coppice. That's the second time we've seen him in that gravel trap, and he is ruining the day that he goes through Coppice every single time. Henry Cummins puts in his fastest lap of the race, and yeah, back to our original point here. Championship connotations, Max Newt 7 in the lead of this race will definitely be in the lead of the championship after this race. He is flying away and doing everything he needs to do to put as much distance between himself and Ryan Scowaker as possible. But Dennis Bosman in second, great place for him to be. He is only 40 points behind Alexander Gray, which is a long way, but with Alexander Gray being in 5th position currently, he's going to gain a significant amount of points on the Swedish driver there. So we'll see how that one takes shape at the end of this race, certainly. While all this is going on, Spitzlam, have you spotted anything else on track?
Not much happening. It was that little skill just again spun. I accidentally cursed him a lot. The spun into Coppice that Kifo overtook him for 10 of not really much, and I just want to say, do not curse Dennis as well.
I'll do my best not to. Sorry if I do, Dennis. It might be too late for that one. I'm going to take a look here at this battle in the midfield between Diogo Teixeira and Alexander Gray here, duking that out over 5th position. Diogo Teixeira actually surprising me with the kind of pace that he's got, or potentially Alexander Gray surprising me with his lack thereof, because usually there's a bit of a gap between these two drivers. Maybe the GT3 is Diogo's particular car of choice, Tom.
Yeah, well, I think Alexander definitely had an issue on his last lap because it was a 30.5 and well, Diogo did a 28.2, so there must have been some sort of issue for Alexander, whether he just slipped off the track somewhere, I don't know, but it's not going to help him. And once again, he's done a 30.5 again, so Diogo has gained 6/10 on that last lap alone, and there's Alexander Gray with a big slide through Redgate, I believe it is, and it's just going to allow Diogo to catch right back onto him. So it's just, I think he's gotten a bit ragged. He's used too much of his tyre early on, and it's starting to affect him now, I think. That's all I can think of right now. But as you see again, he's gone really wide into the old hairpin, and it's actually spun out right in front of him. They had a collision, and Diogo's facing the wrong way. Hopefully he gets a sensible rejoin and doesn't take out any following cars. But that is not what either of them are going to want. But tell you what, Alex Heller is absolutely counting his lucky stars, and Madball was going up the inside past Alexander Gray as well. And there we go, 2 positions lost for both those drivers.
Yeah, devastating for Diogo Teixeira, that one. An absolutely unforced error for Alexander Gray as he goes off once again at McLean's alongside Mad Bull, going off for sympathy there. Has come up to Coppice back on the circuit ahead of Diogo Teixeira. But yeah, that's really devastating for Diogo. An unforced error from Alexander Gray, and then nowhere Diogo could have gone then, is there? He kind of had no choice.
Yeah.
But, well, a 3-way battle is formed as a result of it. As you know, crashes breed crashes. We'll see how this one ends as they go 3 wide into the S's here. El Ripo, last of the late breakers. What a manoeuvre that was. Up the inside of the pair of them in towards the S's. Take a bow, son. Diogo Teixeira, struggling with a bit of damage, I believe, goes off the circuit on the edge of the S's, and he's now behind even Mad Bull. He might pull into the pits to repair himself, which is a real shame after the great race that he has been having. But, well, this is the way things fall. It's always racing. Yeah. It's how it goes.
I believe he's got suspension damage because his car's crabbing left ever so slightly, and he was losing it a little bit when he looked like he straightened up. It just darted to the left a little bit. So I think he definitely has some damage of some sort. Either that or my camera's playing tricks on me.
No, it did look like the same
We can
to
check.
me. Yeah, if you guys have a check on that, see if he comes into the pits or anything. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a look up ahead because the battle for third has started to ignite again. Dennis Bosman now not far up the road from these two drivers, only 3.5 seconds between him and Henry Comsey. But with only 2 minutes and a lap left, I'm not sure if Henry's going to be able to reel him in anytime soon, especially as he's now got to start defending. Michelle Rodriguez is within a second of the finished driver as they're coming through into the S's. And Michelle, well, this is a track and a car that he should know. This man's betrayed us for a set of Corsa Competizione a few weeks in a row now, so he's got absolutely no excuses. He might not have had practice, but he's been doing nothing but race GT3s at these kind of circuits.
Yeah, he should have that advantage. I'm wondering what happened to Dennis, because Dennis at one point was 5 seconds clear of Henry. And I think just a couple laps ago, in fact, he was that margin clear. And now for him to be so much closer again, I think Dennis must have made a mistake. But of course, Michelle is just seeming out of the depth here to be able to find the pace. He's taken another 10th out of Henry in front. So let's just see what he's got over these last couple of laps. I think we could have a really interesting fight on the final lap here.
Yeah, we certainly could. It seems to be posing that way, doesn't it? As the gap starts to get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer with only just over a minute and a lap left. I think that's going to be maybe 2 laps left for these drivers, although that all depends on where Max 7 is. Bloody hell, he's at Coppice. All right, maybe 3 more laps. 2 more laps. He's well far up the road. 16 seconds clear of Dennis Bosman in second. That man is in a league of his own today, doing everything he can once again to just secure that first place position. But this is the battle that is taking our eyes and taking the focus on track. Diogo Texeira also closing in on Max Bull. Have you been spotting that, Spitzlam?
Yes, I've been. Diego doesn't have any suspension damage, which is surprising after that crash that we would say normally would cause at least some suspension damage, but it doesn't seem he has some, so it's just aero damage in the front.
Yes, his car understeering a little bit, especially through the old hairpin there. So, and coming through McLean's now especially, you can see him taking a little while extra to get back on the throttle. But he's hunting down Mad Bull. Big note for Mad Bull, it's his first VR race in the Track Titan Community Race Series. His first time testing out that rig, so he might be a little bit slower, but it's certainly going to be an exciting experience for him tonight, running in 8th position. Well, whilst them two battle away for 8th position, all eyes are on this battle for 3rd and what this means for the championship. Henry Comsey, 2nd place in the championship. He's going to need to take on all the points he possibly can if he wants to keep his championship fight hopes alive. But Michelle Rodriguez, Party Pooper, is here to spoil that for him, coming down the crane of curves. The time has ticked down to 0, but Max 7 is well around halfway, about halfway around the circuit here. So that means it's going to be 1 more lap for these drivers. And Michelle Rodriguez is just trying to find a way past Henry Comsey, coming out of the old hairpin corner, up past Starkey's Bridge and towards McLean's corner. It's a beautiful downward, upwards corner combination there. Dennis Bosman goes very wide out McLean's. That's going to drop him some time. Now Henry Comsey is only a 1.5 seconds behind them. Do you reckon Henry's going to reel him in before the end of the race, Tom?
I'd like to think Dennis should be able to keep that gap. It's 1.5 seconds, but then again, it was 5 seconds 2 laps ago, and now it's 1.5 seconds. I think Dennis might have just let his concentration slip a little bit, and we've seen some mistakes slip on him, which has allowed them to catch up. I'm thinking seeing that car in the rearview mirror should spur him on to drive a bit better, but we'll have to see what's going on. Michelle very confident on the brakes into the Melbourne hairpin still, and the gap is just 0.5 seconds. So I think next lap we should definitely be seeing a move from Michelle onto Henry, but he doesn't want to make another mistake like he did a few laps ago and go for the crash. And he's got a far better exit there through Goddard's onto the start-finish straight. So Henry's going to be seeing that Ferrari very big and very red in his rearview mirror. And as you see here, he's looking like he's ready to push him round the corner. And it's not helping Dennis either, because Dennis just seems to be losing time and dropping back. It's just over 1 second now.
It is indeed. Dennis just hemorrhaging time through every single corner. It looks like whether he's losing the tyres or just losing a little bit of his head, maybe, as he comes through the final few corners of the lap here. Sorry.
Henry had a slide, so Michelle could look to make a move onto this. Sorry about that.
No, I was discombobulated there. You were doing me a favour. I was trying to gather my thoughts. Dennis Bosman headed towards Coppice ahead of these two, but these two still duking it out. Through Coppice they come. Henry Comsey all over that inside curve, trying to get all the power down he possibly can and run away from Michelle Rodriguez down the Starkey straight. Has he done enough? We look at Michelle Rodriguez ducking underneath him, trying to get all the slipstream he possibly can. The gap is getting smaller and bigger every single time. Max 7 is heading towards the Goddard's hairpin. He's going to cross the line and win this race in just a moment's time. We'll cut to that. But currently on screen, we've got Henry Comsey and Michelle Rodriguez very close. Max 7 down the start-finish line. He's going to win this first race, and he was in a league of his own. But we're going to quickly jump back to the second, third, and fourth place battle as Henry Comsey looks to run away from Michelle Rodriguez. Down towards the Goddard's hairpin. Michelle Rodriguez once again looks up the inside, lunges it, and gets himself well alongside and ahead. And that is an interesting maneuver from Michelle Rodriguez on Henry Comsey there. Dennis Bosman finishes in second position. Henry Comsey in fourth. Michelle Rodriguez in third. What do you make of that one, Tom?
I'm gonna say it was clean. Henry saw the move late and tried to cover it off, but Michelle was already coming in alongside, so they had to hold the space. I didn't see too much contact in terms of anything smacking into him with his nose. It looked more side-on contact as Henry came to shut the door. Yes, they did run very deep, but I think it's okay. That's a rate. I would say that's a very strong but very fair legal move from Michelle. I could be wrong.
I'm
I
so
am only a amateur karter.
but it's Diego Teixeira and Mad Bull going almost side by side coming into the line. For the Godfather's corner coming side by side. That was a real good race. I didn't want to cut you off, but these two, Mad Bull, Diego Teixeira, Alexander Gay, and I think it was El Ripo. It was great racing as well from all of these four drivers, and I just didn't want to cut you.
No, all good. Don't worry.
We saw
it on the cameras. We had a nice battle to the line there between four of the drivers. Sorry, Alexander Gray and El Ripo battling right to the line through the Goddard's hairpin, and Mad Bull and Diego Teixeira doing just the same. It's nice to see the battles ringing through the race from first all the way down to 10th, and then the last driver on the grid is Little Skittle. Went out the final corner. He's going to be the only driver today not to take home any points in this first race. And that's a shame for the McLaren driver there. We'll see how he fares in the next race because, of course, he should be starting from pole position. Indeed he is. 2 more minutes for these drivers to sit and wait. And, well, we can collect our thoughts after that one. Little Skittle starting pole for this race. He's going to look to try and run away with it. But after that last race, well, Max 7 was certainly in a league of his own. Do you think he's going to be able to cut through the pack and repeat the same performance?
I think it'd be silly to bet against it. I think there's definitely potential.
I think that's probably a valid point to make. And then obviously we had that last corner moment between Henry Comsey and Michelle Rodriguez. The marshals are going to make of that what they do, but you know what? You make a good point, Tom. Henry could have closed that door a bit more aggressively. Maybe Henry, just with a bit of self-preservation, thought Michelle would be a little bit nicer to him. But this is a different Michelle. This is a different Michelle that's returned. He used to be a nice guy, and he's returned a mean, fighting driver from his Assetto Corsa Competizione days.
They've done to my boy.
What have they done to him?
No, I think Henry realistically should have been on that inside line. Michelle was up his bumper from the exit of Melbourne. He should have been on that inside line and just braked earlier and held the corner, and then he could have just totally shut the door on any attempt from Michelle to cut back or run round him. So I think if I'm honest, I think it's a strong move by Michelle, and it's poor defending by Henry, is my honest opinion of it. But either way, I don't get the final say at the end of the day. That's the steward, I believe, Alex Heller. So whatever he decides is what we'll go through.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes through the week. That'll all be revealed by next time we're out. A few drivers joining now. Hugh Jass has made an appearance in the McLaren, so we're going to have 2 McLaren drivers on the grid. He's going to start from the back of the grid for this one, but he did say he might just be able to make it back in time for the second race, so it's great to see him out on track, and that's the only addition to the grid that I can see. Well, we've got about 20 seconds left. Spit Slam, once again. Who's in the lead by the first corner?
It will be Keith.
Keith Holt from second position. From the right side of the grid. I love this. I love this prediction. I'd love to see Keith in the lead of a race.
I'm going to go with List with Skittle just to spin off at turn 1.
We'll see how that goes. Funny. The 6 red lights go out, and away we go. That's a great start from Alexander Gray. He's right into the middle of the pack and gaining positions already, but Little Skill has definitely had the better start of the leading drivers into the first corner in first position. And who's that going very wide? Henry Comsey moving through on someone there as well. Keith Holt, though, in second position. Little Skittle in first position. And Diego Teixeira through on Keith Holt at the top of the Crane of Curves. Nice little clean move from the Portuguese driver there as they come down towards the old hairpin corner. Alexander Gray managed to make himself up into 4th position. Henry Comsey, the biggest gainer of them all, up into 5th position from 4th back, excuse me. Alex Heller, Michelle Rodriguez going side by side through the old hairpin through under Starkey's Bridge, and they're fighting all the way up to McLean's as there is another battle going on further ahead. That's Alexander Gray and Henry Comsey going side by side with Keith Holt as well. And this battle continues up towards Coppice as Alexander Gray is cleanly through on Keith Holt on the outside, sweeps around, and he's into 3rd position. Ahead of him,
Little Skittle ran a bit wide. Sorry. Yeah, Little Skittle ran a bit wide, touched the grass a bit, and just had to get off the power, which allowed Diogo Teixeira just to go. But Little Skittle was making a move up the inside into the chicane, and he's done it perfectly. Alexander Gray, I think, is going to be the big winner out of this because it's allowed him to slingshot himself straight up onto the back. But I think Henry Compsey was trying to stick his nose at the inside, which really compromised him. And now Henry Compsey is going for the move up the inside into Melbourne Hairpin. He's going to have a strong, worse exit, and Alexander Gray able to get the traction and get that launched. But is Henry Compsey going to go for a switchback here? We'll have to see shortly in a second. But Michelle Rodriguez is going for a move down there. There's so much going on, I can't speak. Alexander Gray goes for the move on Diogo Teixeira, spins Diogo Teixeira. So Diogo Teixeira has now lost a shed load of places. Someone tried to go around, I think it was Alex Heller, tried to go around the outside of Michelle Rodriguez, and as a result of that, got caught up or had to take avoiding action of the spinning car. Alexander Gray is now sliding through turn 1 as Michelle Rodriguez is trying to loop it round the outside. Michelle Rodriguez really needs to get going because Max Newt is sat right behind him, and Henry Compsey now on the hunt for Little Skittle, who is just managing to hold enough of a advantage up the front, but is getting a bit sloppy himself, as all the guys behind are as well. Max Newt now setting up a move onto Alexander Gray into McLean's as he's getting pinched a bit by Alexander Gray and sensibly backs out. He doesn't have anything to risk now. He knows he's got the pace on everyone. He just needs to be sensible making his way through.
In fact, he does. He makes the move cleanly into Coppice as Alexander Gray went a little bit wide out of McLean's. Got on the gravel, slowed down a little bit. Max 7 up the inside with a fantastic switchback maneuver. He is ahead and into 6th position out of Coppice. Little Skittle still holding on to 1st position for a little while longer now at the head of the pack, but he's got a chasing Henry Compsey behind him, and that's not the kind of man that you want to have chasing you. Michelle Rodriguez and Henry Compsey, likewise, still very, very close. This battle remains from the first race, and well, hopefully it doesn't end in tears once again as Michelle Rodriguez looks to try and make a move coming up towards Goddard. He's slipstreaming Henry Compsey. He looks to the inside, thinks better of it. He's not going to try and make any more enemies this time as Henry Compsey, meanwhile, is gaining on the first place man, Little Skittle, and Little Skittle's days are numbered in 1st position surely as Henry Compsey moves out to the outside of Redgate. Little Skittle holds that inside line, defending exactly as he needs to do, and Henry Compsey going to try and look to switch to the inside of the Crane of Curves, but it's not going to happen this time round. He's going to get a lot of speed on him, but Little Skittle is driving that McLaren wide as possible, going down the Crane of Curves. Henry Compsey all over the inside curve, and he's off. He's well off the track at the bottom of the Crane of Curves, got over the inside curb there on that left-hander, and it just sent him round, and he's in the gravel, much like... I was going to make a Civic Cup reference there, but it's not going to make sense to anyone outside of British Club Motorsport. Little Skittle maintains his lead ahead of Michelle Rodriguez, and Michelle Rodriguez looks to the inside of Little Skittle in towards Coppice, breaks deep, tries to make the move. Little Skittle
lost it.
Outbreaks himself, goes off at Coppice once again. That man loves the Coppice gravel trap, and he is out of the battle for the lead, now down in 5th position. What's going on, Islam?
Huge grass. Henry spinning in the turn before Coppice. I don't know the name. Let me.
McLean's.
Into McLean's and basically 3-car spin. A crash. Henry, then Diego. It was, I think, Keith, Diego, and Henry, if I'm right.
Ah, that's a real shame for those 3 drivers.
Bad to worse for Diego then.
Yeah, it is indeed. That's a real shame for those 3 drivers there. Crashing out of McLean's. Thanks for keeping an eye on that one, Spitzlam. As we look back towards Little Skittle and El Ripo, battling it out of the Goddard's hairpin. El Ripo ducking right up underneath Little Skittle, trying to get all the slipstream he possibly can, and he looks to the inside of Redgate, breaks deep, gets alongside Little Skittle, and the move is, whoop! The move is rough, but the move is completed before they reach Crane of Curves. El Ripo is ahead and into 5th position. Little Skittle dropping back into 6th. He's dropping like a sack of bricks as they go down the Crane of Curves once again. And, well, as we keep watching this battle, as it does seem to be a little bit of a hot one, we'll keep our eyes on it. But I'm going to open a question to Tom. Michelle Rodriguez and a Max Newt 7 up at the front of the pack. How long is Michelle Rodriguez going to hold on to this lead, Tom? 3 laps?
Yeah. 2 laps to catch. And then
sorry, his little skittle goes
gonna-
round at McLean's there. He got on the inside curve and went round. Carry on, sorry, Tom.
Yeah, 3 laps. It's going to take him 2 laps to catch him and 1 lap to get past him. Unless somehow Michelle has found, I don't know, over half a second a lap of pace. That's just happening. I'm sorry, but there's no other way around it.
Well, you've written and signed the Doomsday Book for Michelle Rodriguez. He's going to have to accept his fate, surely. Dennis Bosman is close behind Alexander Gray for 3rd position, and Michelle Rodriguez, yes. I think you're right, Tom. I think his days are numbered because Max Newt 7 has closed half a second on him in half a lap alone. So the young Swedish traitor is going to be looking in his wing mirrors, and unfortunately they're going to need defrosting because they're full of ice. Max Newt 7, the Iceman, hunting him down for
You're calling any Finnish person an Iceman right now.
No. Max Newt 7's the Iceman. No, so hold on.
Called Henry the Iceman.
No, Henry's the Iceman. Max is the Flying Finn. I've got it wrong.
God damn it.
Just the sheer betrayal.
You know,
so
listen,
if you're in... Sorry, go ahead.
There's similarities between Max Newt 7 and Hakkinen. There's similarities between Henry Comsey and Michelle and Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah.
That's where the nicknames come from. It's not just because they're Finnish.
Because Henry can be last. Just in the final 3 minutes, suddenly he is in 2nd. That's why he's got the Iceman. Kimi did the same thing.
Exactly.
Max is just flying on the track.
Diogo's just overtaken Heath.
It's Keith.
And Keith span through McLean's there, trying to hold the car, trying to look to make some sort of offensive to gain it back, and he just lost the car and looped it. Meanwhile, Dennis Bosman has caught right up to the back of Alexander De Grey. In fact, he's going for a move into the Melbourne hairpin right now. He's got the car at the inside, he's parked it on the apex, and he's got the move done. Alexander De Grey now going to try and catch him back on the way into the into Goddard's, I think it is called. But Dennis Bosman holding him tight on the outside and then just holding the inside line, not giving him any opportunity for a cutback, just parking his Lamborghini there right in the way. As Max Newt, he's not, sorry, I thought he'd overtaken for a second.
Not quite yet. It seems to be a matter of time. Your three lap deadline is this lap. So Michelle Rodriguez is going to be looking at his watch and waiting for Max Newt 7 to pass him because that's been prophesized. But like you commentated there, Dennis Bosman threw on Alexander Gray with a nice clean move into the Melbourne hairpin there. Exactly.
Makes a change from what we've been seeing.
Exactly, and it's great news for the Lamborghini camp to see the one and only Lamborghini out on track in podium position once again. Henry Comsey is cutting through the field, and he's made his way past Diogo Teixeira. Do you see what happened there, Spitzlam?
No, it was a really clean move coming down to Craner curves. Really nothing much, just a better exit out of Hollywood for Henry Comsey. And this is why you call him the Iceman.
This is why he's the Iceman.
He just appears.
He's cold. He appears and, you know
He's
what?
cool
That's
as well.
What it is. And
I thought you were just about to say he's old.
He's old.
He's old. He's cold. And I'll reframe my metaphor from earlier. Michelle Rodriguez is going to be looking in his wing mirror, and he's just going to be seeing Max Newt 7. There's no fun ideas here. He's just going to be looking and seeing this police car and panicking because Max is the Flying Finn, as I've accurately named him now. And he
It seems like
Michelle.
It seems like Michelle is going too fast. He will have to slow down to not get a ticket from Max Newt.
I think right now he's trying to flee and elude.
Michelle Rodriguez enters the race in jail as Max Newt 7 hunts him down for first position. Coming down the Craner curves, Max Newt 7 closing in on him. About 2/10 a lap each lap. Keith Holt has managed to get his past little skill. Oh, but they're still battling away as they come through Goddard's. You see what happened there, Spitzman?
Not much. I just saw the place change. That's all. But Max is getting closer and closer to Michelle. The traitor livery is paying off. We can say a little bit. He is getting punished for leaving us for 2 weeks.
He certainly
go
is.
do something else.
He's getting punished on track as well because Max Newt 7 is hunting him down through the S's. He's very close. What are you going to say?
He takes far more curve than him there, doesn't he? And there we go. Michelle's forced to go defensive. I think Max is just gonna. He's going for it. He's sending it, which I think is not the right place to do it. But he's gonna make it work. He's gonna get the exit, and he's gonna get the inside for the line on the next corner. My prediction was 1 lap off Oh, we're going to see a very aggressive ascend by Michelle. Yes, we see another one. They make contact, but it doesn't affect Max Newt. And it's probably just cost Michelle a couple of tenths. And there we go. That is... I'm going to say it now. That's race done. Max Newt has won this one.
It's Henry in 6th place coming into the Melbourne hairpin above Mad Bull. Mad Bull doing better in the second race than in the first one. I want you guys to notice that. That's...
He is. He's doing well. He's holding his own. He's getting used to his VR setup that's new to him, and it's great to see for the American driver there. But yeah, Henry Comsey on his fight back after dropping down, he is in 6th position right now and trying to hunt down El Ripo next. But that was a nice clean move into the Melbourne hairpin once again. We actually saw that battle, funny enough, flash through our screens right at the top of shot. It's a lovely shot from Redgate where you can see the drivers coming towards you, and then in the background you can see them going into the S's as well. So if there's any battles going on there, you can spot them too, but that's just the camera operator side of me. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, look at him.
Honestly. Anyway, the battle at the front...
Put it away.
The battle at the front has got a little bit wider now as Max Newt 7 and Michelle Rodriguez start to spread out a little bit. Max Newt 7, obviously the fastest man on track. He's going to look to gap Michelle, but Michelle doing fairly well to keep him honest. He's not allowing him to run away with it quite yet. And with 3.5 minutes left, all it's going to take is one mistake from Max Newt 7, and Michelle Rodriguez is back in the lead of this thing, and he's certainly going to want to take home a win to prove all the haters wrong, isn't he?
Well, one thing I will say to give Michelle credit for, he's very good at mimicking a faster driver, which is, I think, what we're seeing here. He's mimicking, he's not let Michelle get away too fast, and he's in fact gone quicker than him in that last lap. I think that's mostly due to the slipstream. We're going to say that anyway. And just as I'm complimenting him, he decides that apexes aren't for him and proceeds to drive off the track. Luckily, he doesn't spin like he did a million times in practice, but we'll have to see if he decides to get faster through the race and try and actually challenge Max Newt for this win. I don't think he's going to. He's doing well to try and copy his lines, but I don't think he's quite got the confidence in the car that Max has.
Yeah, the Michelle roast session returns with Tom's return, and that's lovely to see. It's what he deserves for betraying us for 2 weeks. But he's still sticking in second position and doing very well.
El Rico is actually fighting Alexander Gray as well. Sorry to interrupt you. He's sat right behind him. He's looking for a way around, and Alexander Gray is placing his car absolutely perfectly as he sends it up the inside into McLean's. Alexander Gray holding it around the outside and keeping it going. Dennis Bosman getting all off the track ahead of him. So we're going to see Dennis slip and lose a position towards the end again, I wonder, as Alexander Gray's got a bit hot-headed through Coppice, which has just allowed El Ripo to get the better run through. And now he's going to tuck his Ferrari right up behind him under that big win, pulling it along side by side. He should just be able to get himself ahead, park it on the apex and hold it there. And that should be the position done for now, unless Alexander Gray is able to find some pace to try and fight back to him over the next couple of laps. But they need to remember they've got Henry Compsey just 7 seconds up the road on them. And if we're looking at last laps at all, he's over 1.5 seconds faster when these two weren't fighting. So I don't know what the damage is doing to them, but if they keep fighting, there's going to be more damage.
I'm sorry, but it's Max taking a bad line through Redgate, coming onto the curb a lot, touching the gravel even. There might be a dive bomb soon for Michelle Rodriguez on Max Newt to maybe get the win on the final laps.
Potentially, if Max Newt keeps doing this. Sorry, Tom.
Well, we know how partial Michelle is to the old dive bomb, so you go ahead now, Thomas.
No, yeah, thank you for getting that little roast in there. I think it was necessary. But as Spitzlam managed to catch there, Max Newt 7 gets a little bit Larry on the exit of Redgate there, loses some time, and Michelle Rodriguez closes right at the back of him. It's exactly what I was saying just a few laps ago. One mistake and Michelle's back in the lead. Max Newt 7 needs to keep this clean. There's a driver that's spanned by the sounds of it, going through Goddard's. I think it was Little Skittle going a little bit slowly there in 10th position. And how far he's fallen from first position, that's a real shame for Little Skittle, as he was doing quite well in first for a little while until he threw it all away at Coppice.
Little Skittle's into pit lane.
So elegantly put.
The roast. These hands are rated E for everyone, Tom. Oh, as Michelle Rodriguez goes very wide in the exit of the Goddard's hairpin, and he likewise decides that winning is not for him and drops back even further from Max Newt 7 as they come through Redgate. The gap now over 1 second. Alex Ella up into 10th position as Little Skittle is in the pits, taking home no more points.
Coming out.
In fair, Michelle is very generous like that, removing any sort of pressure to the car ahead. So
just
it's very
got to
kind of
Alexander
him.
Gray, and he was on the grass on the inside of Goddard's hairpin trying to find a way past El Ripo. That's no way to make an overtake, Alexander Gray. The door was well and truly shut. You don't force your way through. If you overtake with consent. No, that will.
He is taking. He is taking the Albona route.
He is. He's trying to do an Alex Albon move
It's
there
fine.
on the
I'll
grass.
get through on the grass.
Exactly that. Well, and he goes around on the grass as well. Just to compliment us as we get him on stream, Alexander Gray spinning at the old airpin there. Very easily done as he get on the exit curve. He's going to rejoin the circuit as they come through Starkey's Bridge. And Mad Bull and Diego Teixeira, the battle for 7th position, is going to arrive on the back of him. Oh, Mad Bull having to slam on the brakes there because Alexander Gray is on the racing line, going about 50 mile an hour slower than he should be. And this means that Diego Teixeira is well and truly in the back of him. And now it's a 3-way battle for 6th position. Heading up towards
around the outside of him.
Alec Mad Bull trying to
Round the
incredible.
outside.
Round the outside, round the outside, round the outside.
Albano again.
Slim Shady. Mad Bull trying to make the move on Alexander Gray, and now he's got the inside line for the S's. He's going to chase him down into the S's, breaking deep. Diego Teixeira tries to look to the inside of the pair of them. Thinks better of it. Alexander Gray has got the better braking out of all 3 of them, and he holds on to that 6th position for a little while longer as they head down towards the Melbourne hairpin. And onto the final lap for these drivers. Mad Bull still unable to find a way through, and Diego Teixeira trying to look around the outside of him, but it's also not going to happen, and this 3-way battle is going to carry on to the line. But I'm going to focus my attention on the lead battle because they're still underneath
half
a second.
Yeah, Michel's done a great job to catch it back up, but he hasn't been able to capitalise on it. He hasn't been able to find a way to get that gap smaller, and he's getting quite ragged. And I think Max will probably be noticing this and just trying to keep himself on his lines. But then again, anything can happen through these next few corners.
Diego crashed into Mad Bull coming in right gate. So it's Alex coming out with the 6th place, and it will maybe be a battle for the 7th place.
No, Alex has spun again.
Oh, Alexander Gray has spun again.
Oh.
Once again, he's round on the
He's
exit
spun,
of the old hairpin. The same
He's got
corner.
a long way round.
The same corner he's spun last lap. He's
They
dropped down
cursed
into
him.
8th position, potentially down even further as Keith Holt arrives on the scene. And yet the commentator's curse comes back, but one man
And
who
Max
hasn't been
has
cursed.
come round the final corner to win
It's
the race.
Diego.
Michel could not
In
find a way
6th.
through and ended up in 2nd.
And it's Alex.
Oh, what's going
Okay,
on for
we need
Alexander
to
Gray?
take Alexander Gray for an interview because I want to know how can you spun in in 2 corners in a row.
It's a double 3rd place for Dennis Bosman as well, bringing that Lambo home on the podium every single race.
Yep, exactly that. El Ripo in 4th position, Henry Comsey bringing it round the final corner. He finishes in 5th position, and a lackluster day for Henry Comsey today as he looks to cement his championship position. He's going to gain points on Ryan Skywalker technically because Ryan's missing this one, but yeah, all in all, not the best day for Henry Comsey here at Donington Park, and he disconnects immediately. Not happy, I guess, with his performance. Diogo Teixeira in 6th position, stopping before the line. Keith Holt moving through on him. He is.
That the damage, or
maybe he had slowdowns.
No,
he
was allowing Mad Bull through after that incident.
We don't have penalties. There are no slowdowns.
Oh right,
yeah,
he must
exactly.
have just been letting through.
He was just being a nice sportsman, but that did drop him down 2 positions. So Keith Holt is laughing as of all of this because he entered the last lap in 9th position and finished in 6th after all that was said and done. Alexander Gray, chronic spinner, finishes in 9th position, and then Alex Heller takes on the final point of the night in 10th. So 2 races won by Max Newt 7 here at Donington Park on the GP loop. Should we grab him for an interview?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's abduct him. Max Newt 7, he's in the room with us. 2 wins today. Do you like this car? Do you like this circuit, Max?
Yeah, I absolutely love both.
Yeah, I could tell you were flying away in that first race. That first race couldn't have gone any better for you. But that second race, well, you managed to find a way past Michelle Rodriguez, but it got a little bit leery. What happened going into the first corner, Redgate? Did you just get on the gravel?
Yeah, a little bit wide. Just missed the braking.
Well, happens even to the best, clearly. Much better than me, so I'm not going to say anything against you. No, but well done, good racing. Tom, any questions for Max here?
So when you found out Ryan wasn't racing today, did you think you're going to have a back-to-back win?
Yeah, I pretty much thought that I can do that.
Cool.
Ryan was
Collector's
confident. Ryan was confident, so maybe. But I'm not saying you got a lucky break because I would never doubt you. I would never doubt you, Max. But I think it would have been a little bit more difficult. Did you see Ryan's times? Did you think you were going to be able to battle him all day?
Yeah, I think it would have been great race with Ryan if he would have been racing.
Exactly. So it's a shame he couldn't make it. He had power problems. He was getting load shedded. So it's a shame for him there. But well done. Good racing. Load shredded. He was getting load shredded. Yeah. Yeah. Well done. Great racing. Tom, any questions?
Has been shredded. No. Other than that, I think very well done from you. As per normal, Max. What are you looking forward to next week? Do you think you're going to have what it takes to pull it off a double win again?
Maybe. Let's see.
It depends on the car, doesn't it? It's street next week. Yet to be decided. We'll see how it goes. Spitzlam, any last questions for Max?
Yeah, no, great racing, Max. Some little mistakes could be a little better racing, but you are still a better driver than me. So yeah, great race.
You can't be roasting him like that in the interview. Well done, Max. Great racing again. I'm sure we'll speak to you next week. But thanks for joining us again.
Thanks.
See ya.
See ya.
Max New 7.
We
go.
I wonder, do we have Henry available?
He is about.
Yes, we do.
Would you like to speak to him?
I think I would like to speak to him.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you nip into the general channel and ask if he's ready, and then you can come back in. But yeah, what a great race that was. Yeah, what a great race that was. Max Newt 7 winning both races this evening. So lovely to see for him. Tom, is he ready?
Yeah, he is up for an interview.
Cracking. Let's get him in here. Henry Comsey joins us in the comms box. Tom, what's your interview?
So, Henry, I'm going to start off with the main thing in the room. I think it's one of the biggest talking points about race one. Your collisions with Michelle, the first one where he took you out, and then the second one where I have to say, it was quite a strong move up the inside he did on you. But how do you make of it?
I don't really know. He said I was lagging. In my screen it was fine, and he said I braked too early. But in the first race I didn't have confidence in the brakes. It was all over the place. But in the second race I didn't have damage, and it was okay. So maybe it was the damage part why I have to brake earlier, and that's what got up Michelle. But I don't know. It's a little bit racing, but I think maybe too late, a little bit too much.
Well, you know what? It was an interesting maneuver. The marshals will make of it what it was, but yeah, we'll see how it goes in the rest of the week. In the meanwhile, you had a great race. To be fair, you were battling with Michelle all the way through, and then it kind of fell apart in that second race. Were you just struggling with the car a little bit more?
In the second race, I was behind that leader. I don't know who it was, but I was too close. Didn't see the curb on the corner, and that spun the car. And after that, it was like catching up game, but I was too much behind, and not enough like a grip and speed. I don't know how Max that does what he does. He's like an animal on the Ferrari.
He's on another level in this Ferrari. He was in a league of his own. There's nothing you could do to him there. But
yeah, others can try, but he does what he wants.
Exactly. He just tries loops around everyone else at the minute. It's a shame there was no Ryan to put a challenge to him tonight. But no, well done for racing. You had it was a ropey night, a fourth and a fifth. It's not a bad night, is it? But well, it's valuable points, I suppose.
Yeah, third place is like almost confirmed, and that was my objective for the season.
Well, the objective completed.
Yeah, from the start of the season, I didn't really think I could fight for the championship. I'm kind of surprised that I'm even this close.
Honestly, I'm not counting you out for a championship charge. I mean, it would require Ryan and Max to die, but you'd be there.
Yeah, I've just done some figuring out in my head, and currently after dropped rounds, Max is on 305 points after the 6 drop rounds that get taken in, while Ryan is on 318. So he does have a 14-point lead, and I think you're going to be somewhere in the
Tom,
region of 260, I think, or 270.
The standings do get put in the Discord chat, and the best 20 is the amount listed. The total points are in the slightly left, so the maths is done for you, Tom. Don't worry. Max Newt 7 is leading Ryan now with 358.
But those things are taken with the 6 rounds that we haven't done yet, taken into account.
Yeah.
Not. So they're included in the calculation. So I've had to do it manually myself.
Interesting. Okay. Well, sorry, I should have doubted you. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that makes things interesting. You can do the maths, Tom. I'll just stick to being daft. Well done, Henry. Great racing. Any last questions, Spitz or Tom, for Henry?
No, I'm all good.
Nope. All good as well.
Cracking stuff. Well, thanks for joining us again, Henry. We'll see you next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
See you later,
Bye.
mate.
Bye.
There you go. Henry Comsey joins us in the comments box, as well as Max 7, the winner of both races tonight. And that concludes a fantastic evening of racing once again here at Donington Park. As I said, my favourite circuit. Well, next week is going to be disappointing for me in comparison, but it won't be boring. That's one thing we can always guarantee with these Track Titan community races, so make sure to tune in this time next week. Thanks for joining us once again, Tom. Great to have you back. When we're going to see you in a few weeks?
Not next week, but the week after. I'm going to try and do every other week here.
Cracking. Well, we'll see you then. And Spitzlam next week? Question mark?
Definitely.
Love to see it. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. So we'll see Spitzlam next week. We'll see Tom in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We shall see you next week on the Track Titan Community Race channel. But for now, from myself and Spitzlam and Tom, see you later.